everyone's watching. Cool. Let's see. Let me just try to see if I can get you. Is there like an interview overlay here? Because I can like add you there. Assign. Yeah, maybe it doesn't matter that. Oh. Show. Oh, maybe this one? I don't know. Maybe it doesn't matter that much. God damn it. If I could just
What's the stream showing?
cam link my phone. I don't want to show my phone. Oh, now I'm just showing you. Swap cameras. This is so confusing. Because this is... Oh, okay. You are actually a camera. Let's see. So if I use guest... There we go. Oh, you're bigger than me. Let's see. Let's try. Yeah, let's just do something like that, and then we just gonna keep this up. There we go, and then yeah, let me bring over the. You had some suggestions on.
Yeah, so I put together a really quick agenda with some suggestions.
Yeah.
Looking through the issues and the PRs we've got open. But it'd be really good to like have a chat about the project, where the project's going. We use it on over 1 million devices right now, across different apps and stuff. So it's a really great project, Christian. We just want to make sure we keep it going.
Yeah.
And literally every Redux project I come across, I convert to Overmind. Right? So
yeah, I kind of miss working with it. Yeah, as I talked about, like a code sandbox, we had to make a decision between like choosing a framework or just going low level React, and we went low level React. But yeah, it's been a lot of fun. Like just thinking back on the process of developing it and all the feedback and using it myself on projects. I remember I worked as a consultant, and the customer I had, I told them, yeah, I'm building this thing. Should we just build the whole thing in this new? And they were like very typical customers who were very like scared of jumping into new stuff, but I managed to convince them.
yeah, no, it's a really powerful library, and I think it's a great way to get started with like global state and stuff.
Yeah.
And it's taken devs like 2 hours to pick this library up and use it compared to Redux. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Even junior devs.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's kind of, especially with React, it's especially for junior devs, there's a lot to take in terms of just a simple thing like equality in JavaScript, like what's equal, and then reference equality and all that stuff, and you have to think about this just doing state management, and that's tricky. That's like senior stuff.
Yeah.
Cool. How are you doing, by the way?
Yeah, I'm good. I am good. Very deep in a project where we replaced Redux actually, and many very late nights to get a lot of old tech out and replace it with a very light touch tech. You know, you often come across projects that have been done by marketing agencies, and some of those marketing agencies just don't necessarily have the experience of developing apps or React projects or whatever it may be, and they just pick loads of technologies, and over the space of 12 months, then that project kind of evolves and they end up using different technologies right the way through without considering state management properly or considering how they might use GraphQL properly. So there are a couple of projects I'm working on right now that are giving me late nights around that sort of stuff. But it's all going over mind, Christian, which is good.
Awesome. Okay, cool. Should we just dive into it? So there are some current PRs that we should look at. By the way, if you're looking at there's like on the link you got, there's like the screen is very small, but there should be a button somewhere that makes it
Yeah,
bigger.
I've been looking for that button for like
Yeah, it's like it's
5 minutes.
crazy that they haven't fixed that, but it's like super hidden somewhere. Or I guess you can use the stream itself.
Yeah, I'll find it. Don't worry. It's
Uh,
yeah, that exact problem.
where is it? Overmind.
We've got 4 PRs, sorry, 6 PRs open at the moment. 4 of them are chores. What do you know? What did you used to do with chores? Do you just accept them, take them as they are?
Yeah, typically did that. I guess like if you're a proper developer, you should have like concerns about bumping dependencies and stuff. But I haven't taken that much into account. Like there's stories about npm packages being hacked, but it's like it's not a
Yeah.
common thing. And if it builds, I'm thinking it's okay.
So what I think we really should do here is do a maintenance release of Overmind to show that the library is still alive and still being used. I think that would be really good.
Sounds good.
And a good way to start that would just be to obviously put the chores in. There is a complete typing for the
Oh.
6PR, and then there's a minor change that some users have been asking for to hide the DevTools error.
Where's that?
That's it's one of the PRs. It's the 5th PR in the list.
Oh, the error. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah. Now this doesn't build at the moment. There's a typing error which I can fix. It's not a.
Oh, it's from Geir. I actually worked with him as a consultant when
Okay.
we actually had a release party at the consulting agency. That's nice. Yeah, because this is not able to connect. Yeah, exactly.
So it just cleans it up for devs, basically. That's the request.
That's awesome. Yeah, that looks great. Yeah, we
So
should just get this in. Yeah.
So why don't we take these 6 PRs, and we don't need to do it on this stream now in the interest of time, but if you're happy, you may be a maintainer like a year ago. So I'm happy to take these PRs and let's do a maintenance release.
Yeah.
If you're happy, that's a kind of good first strategy, I think.
Yes, that's a really good idea. As you say, to just highlight that things are happening. Is it maintenance? Yes. Cool. Great.
Okay, perfect. So that's a nice, easy one. We'll do a maintenance release. I'll work with you offline if we need to get that done, but I'm more than happy to drive that.
Yeah, awesome.
So then what I wanted to do is come on to discuss kind of 2 points. There was a couple of users have raised something like React 18 strict mode. Now, I'll be honest, I haven't looked at React 18 strict mode and what the changes are there.
Yeah.
But there is a problem with tree disposal. If you want to open up the issue.
Yeah, I had a look, and it's like working on other tools as well. This is like a issue. And it's basically what the issue states is that like in strict mode or in development, React does this test dispose of the effects and then runs them again to see if they have any side effects. And we definitely have a side effect, which is disposing the proxy tree instance.
Yeah.
And like typically these effects, they are like based on subscriptions, so it doesn't really matter if you unsubscribe and subscribe again. But we like the proxy state tree implementation isn't really a subscription based. It's like the component gets an instance of a tree, and we have to clean that up. So there's a couple of things on my mind currently. Is like it is possible to detect this behavior in React. there's a article. Where was that? Where is it? Yeah, React double render effect. It's and drive me crazy. Is it that one? No. Oh wait. Any way to fix? There was this. Yeah, it doesn't matter. There is a type of, like, you can abstract use effect and build a custom thing that the text is, and it just works. And I can't find the article right now, but it's used in a very popular library already. So that's
okay. So we need a bit of research there, but we think that's fixable, because the solution proposed was just to comment out the dispose call.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, maybe that's not the right solution. But if we can detect the initial render, the test render, okay.
Yeah, so either that, or there's also I've been using weak map for some things. So you have like a weak reference to the tree, and then JavaScript will just clean it up, which would be ideal. So I can do some research on that one too. But it's definitely fixable. That's the important thing.
Okay. And I think we probably should fix that, right? Because
yes,
that's going to be an issue going forwards.
Research. No, what the hell? How did I write research? There we go.
So, there you go.
Do some research. I can stream it. It's kind of interesting because I have to deep dive into some code, so maybe some people find it interesting. Definitely fixable.
Have you come across the same problem? Anything Code Sandbox related with this? Because it was quite a change, right? With React 18.
Yeah, like my initial response to this change is like, how the hell do they get away with this? Like, because it's so like, if anyone introduced this kind of behavior in a library and it wasn't like as big as React, like, people would start laughing.
They get shut down. Yeah,
shut down immediately. So, but of course, these are smart people, and they have like plans for React way beyond our imagination, I think. So I don't like question their decision in that sense, but it's in terms of developer experience, it's very, very confusing. As if it wasn't confusing enough with it's like hooks again. Like, hooks are so powerful, but they have this very confusing aspect as well. So yeah, I scratched my head a couple of times with this behavior.
Okay, so the action there is that you're going to maybe do some research, maybe stream it.
Yeah.
But we kind of know roughly what the fix needs to be.
Yeah.
And then the other thing, there are a lot of issues around Svelte, Vue. I mean, personally, I know the languages, but I don't know them well enough to be able to resolve those myself. So we're really reliant on the community, and as ever with the community, lots of people don't have time. They identify the issue, but they don't have time to necessarily fix. What's your feeling about supporting those going forwards?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I was quite ambitious in the beginning because they should work. But the biggest problem has really been like including them in the repo in terms of testability, especially Angular. I totally gave up on Angular and moved it to its own repo at the end because I couldn't make the tests run across the different Vue packages. But yeah, as you say, like I haven't used Svelte or Svelte once, I think. Like, it's a very interesting thing. I just haven't used it. And Vue as well, super, super cool. But I haven't personally used it. And that kind of, in terms of motivation to fix it, and it would be best if it was, like, going back, I should have kind of made React part of the core. and then rather make the other view layers driven by the community.
So I mean,
Yeah.
they're going to be hard to fix, right? Both from a time perspective and from an understanding perspective. What we've got 165 weekly downloads of this felt package.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's not huge. It's tiny.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do we just accept they are what they are? Do we depreciate them?
Good question. What kind of issues do you
So
know?
if we look on, let me pull the issues. I mean, it'd be faster for you to probably filter there, yeah.
Oh yeah, cross components. Oh yeah. Oh, build it in production, it'll crash because of reactive assignments. Yeah, it's one thing I also want to reflect on is if there is a way to do like change the approach of proxy state tree so that it actually is subscription based and not instance based. That's like a very abstracted explanation. I'm not sure if it's doable. As I said, like you need this, you need the tracking to be tied to the component. But maybe there's a way to do that, and that would simplify. It would definitely simplify the integration with the Vue packages. So maybe So maybe we don't do anything with these right now until the research for the React thing is done, because we might discover something there that would simplify this. Research is done. Will simplify in other. Yeah. Yup. Cool.
Okay, so then the kind of third part of this was just discussing some kind of minor enhancements. Given that we've kind of frozen the API, there's no kind of want to change the API. The last release has got a major change, right, where we split out use Overmind into use app state, use and so on. It's a very interesting change when you've got thousands of lines of code, but actually there were really easy ways to come around that, and obviously the benefits are huge. How do we keep this library alive going forwards, given that we don't want to change it very much? So yeah, we can do maintenance releases. What do you see the future as, Christian? I guess is the question.
Yeah, it's a good question. Like what for me, like what kind of keeps a community alive? Like looking back at Cerebral as well, it's like sharing and like meeting each other and sharing stuff. So even though it's exciting to kind of build new things and add new features, and the feature freeze was mostly to ensure that like I didn't know how my future looked at the time. Like would I ever like when having kids, you feel like everything kind of collapses. Right? We'll never have time for anything else. But now that things are much better for me, especially with developments in the Vue packages. So for example, React comes up with like new exciting things that would be great to have better integration with, for example. So yeah, I wouldn't say that we should never change anything. it was more to highlight that this is a full API that you can use
Okay.
to build applications. But in terms of like keeping things alive is I remember we did these sessions, we did these streams like every other week, I think, and just invited some people, and we just talked about the applications we were building, challenges we met, ideas we had, and stuff like that. And that's something I really enjoyed doing as well. So that's one aspect of it, like just doing some streams and invite people from the community to just talk about stuff. And we could tie that into, so for example, maybe we could try that as we're fixing like the React 18 thing and doing like a new release. We can maybe do a stream of that and see if people pop up. And
yeah, that might be a really good idea.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm not. I would never say like, especially when people are interested in helping out and maintaining the library and having ideas on how to improve it. I would not like, no, that should never happen. I have decided that should never happen. It was more in the situation at the time.
Yeah. Okay. So what I've done is pulled 3 features. I'm not going to lie, the top 2 here are 2 that I've requested. So having now trained about 20 developers to use Overmind and completely flip them around from being Redux fans to Overmind fans, and particularly, we work with the nature of the consulting work that I do and others around me are doing, jumping into very legacy projects and upgrading them, changing them, moving from class components through to functional components, and at the same time in huge apps, integrating Overmind into that. And 3 of these features, the top 2 of these features have kind of come out of that really, as making it easier to work with. So the first one was, one of the issues with Overmind is typos for people, because they can just, in any action type, state dot some property equals whatever. And the chance of that being caught by typing, if they're using typing, maybe they're Flow fans, it can be quite limited. And one of the things that would be great here is to make a change to proxy state tree to give it like a strict mode, so that unless you've defined the property or the property exists in the path, you cannot update it.
Yeah. I see what you mean.
And for me, so I've looked at this. It looks relatively easy to implement.
Where is it just made me think. I think I remember having this discussion at some point in time as well.
Yeah, I raised the issue about a year ago, and I know you commented on it, I think.
There we are. I thought we had, probably confusing it with some. Have we documented the options or? Yeah, sorry. Doesn't matter. Yeah, it makes sense to me. Like, also the fact that like it's very powerful to have a fully like serializable tree, and undefined isn't like really. It's a risky value to have, because like if you stringify, for example, like the property, it disappears. I think there's like a version of JSON that supports undefined or something, but like normally you don't want that value in your state. So it what I mean to say is that it fits with this request. Like, let's just look at undefined as something that shouldn't be in the tree.
Okay, so you're happy with modifying proxy state tree. So I'm happy to do the PR and make the change. Where is proxy state tree being used? Because obviously it's a project you wrote. The standalone is depreciated now, I think, right?
Yeah, like what was the story here? I think we initially when we built Overmind, like proxy state tree was part of was just in the package, and then we just separated it out because we could,
Hmm.
to kind of show people an implementation separate from the framework itself, more like as a technology, for doing state trees, encouraging others to use the same technology for other kinds of state
Hmm.
management tools. I have no idea if anyone's actually used it, but it's just a nice way to reference it as its own tool, that you can build other stuff on top of. So yeah.
Okay. So what I will, so I'm happy to take this feature, PR it, and literally we will just add a config parameter that can be passed through from Overmind so that if you are trying to set a path in state that doesn't exist,
Mm-hmm.
you just blocked basically.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you think it should like throw an error, or like, I guess?
Yeah. So one of the things a proxy state tree does, which you probably remember, is in dev mode, it will throw errors and display errors. In production, it just does it anyway,
Mm,
which is probably an effect that people don't appreciate actually. That when you're in production mode, these checks aren't being done;
mm,
they're only done in dev mode.
mm-hmm.
So I just proposed the same thing.
Yeah. Cool.
And it's based on the idea that your state tree should be understood at the time you're coding. You should never be able to define properties that are not declared up front, basically,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
otherwise you just end up in a situation where you know you haven't defined your state up front, and instead all your actions are adding different parts of state, and you end up in a complete mess, or you end up with typos, um, and it just leads to application break.
Yeah. How would this work with, like, if you have a property that's just like an empty object, and then
Mhm.
you try to add new keys to that object?
You'd have to replace the object first.
Ah, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So all this is saying very simply is you cannot add keys to an object.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Now there are lots of downsides to doing it that way. Um, but if you have the ability to turn strict mode on and off, and
Yeah.
it's only done in dev mode, at least you can see where you're defining state on the fly,
Yeah.
as part of an action rather than having defined it up front.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, but that makes sense to me. Yeah, and I guess this is also like, kind of ties into typing as well. Like if you
Mhm.
have TypeScript, you will kind of get help from TypeScript to. So it's more like, yeah, as you say, it's an option. You decide if it fits for your
Yep.
project or not. Yeah. Awesome.
Okay. Moving on to the next feature, and this is more of a performance discussion. So one of the things that um, Overmind offers that I don't think is a very well used feature
Mm-hmm.
are events, and using the event hub to
Mm-hmm.
track action start and action end and operator start, operator end, and so on. Now, when you're in dev mode and an action throws an exception, you get a lovely error message in the console that
Mm.
says, hey, action failed. You can track it using the dev tools. When you're in production, the code is simplified, right? So
Mm.
that there is no exception management over actions. So when we're using tools like Bugsnag or other kind of bug tracking solutions, there is no way to track the action error.
Mm-hmm.
So the question really is here, and you can find it really quickly in code.
Mm-hmm.
The question is, what is the downside to putting a try catch around the action execution if the catch then throws the error?
Yeah.
But we also omit an event that the error's occurred.
Yeah. Good question. Um, my like approach on performance and optimization is like, when it comes to like core language functionality, like try catch in this example,
Mhm.
if that's where you start getting optimization issues in like a full-fledged application, then you're like a damn good developer. Like
Yeah.
there's so many other aspects than that try catch around every action, that
Mhm.
where you save tons more resources, if you look at that. So it's like I would state it's negligible to do that in production. And it's also like the way I understand it is that typically it doesn't throw an error. So there's a difference between expressing try catch and it actually catching it.
Right. So the actual try catch, I mean, I've done limited research on this, but we think the actual try catch actually isn't a performance hit. It's only if it's throwing that it will be a performance hit.
That's how I understand it as well. Yeah. So my statement on this is that we should just add it for production as well, so you have consistency in the events.
And so it'd be a new event. It would be an action error event, which we don't have currently. Which we add to the event hub and allow that event to be listened to, and then any action that fails in production. Because right now, otherwise, every developer is try catching around. If you're trying to do this, you're try catching around the action call, and right the way through code, you're having to try catch it. And you call an action thousands of times potentially, no matter that. With thousands different of actions. So actually putting this inside, I think, would be a good idea.
Yeah. Do we have emojis here? No.
No.
Let's add this. Yeah, it makes a lot
and again,
of sense.
I'm happy to do the legwork on this and PR this.
Let's.
I don't think it's a hard PR, but I'd appreciate your review on that PR.
Yep.
Because it is very fundamental to every action being executed, right? So
yeah, exactly.
Then the last feature was one that you raised actually around the scope state tracking. It has the most likes. In terms of a feature that people would like, most thumbs up.
Oh yeah, that one. The whole item that. Yeah, and that we could do that like related to, maybe we could just include this in the fix on with React 18.
You think this is easy?
Let's see, January 14th, 2021. So I don't think it. Yes, I do think it's easy because Yes, it's easy. Like it's getting back to me now because what we do is that we don't do tracking when we call this callback. We started tracking like after the callback is made. So I think it just works out of the box because the tracking happens when you start consuming. So when we just grab the state tree here and just return whatever state you have here to this item, the tracking actually executes related to that object. So basically the tracking doesn't happen when you call this function, which means that it doesn't track that you're accessing items. It just it will just track you accessing. Well, so imagine you would have state.items here. It would not track that you access items, but if you were to like iterate items, it would track that you access every item in items, for example.
Using find or something, right? Yeah.
So basically, this is not tracked, but this is tracked. And it should be very straightforward.
I mean, that would be a massive performance improvement potentially as well.
Yeah, it's definitely. And it's just especially because it's more, like, as I'm trying to state here, it's like more intuitive. So you would kind of, just by writing code more intuitively, you would get that performance boost as well. Yeah. But yeah, that's we can include this in 18 fix. Yeah, so we can do like a React release and do a stream, and then that would be fun.
That'd be really good. So in terms of overall strategy, then should we do a maintenance release sooner rather than later with those PRs?
Yeah.
Then we look at the React 18 stuff on a stream.
Yeah, and then you can work
And
on
I'll do those PRs in parallel.
Yeah. And if stars align, we can do like one big release, or if it takes a bit more time with the research and stuff, and you're done with your PRs, we can do like a separate release with those.
Okay, that sounds good.
Sweet. I see there are some comments. It's a simple way to migrate a huge project on Overmind v27 to v28. By the way, yeah, maybe we can look at the comments last.
Yeah, sure.
Did you have anything more on the agenda?
No, that was the agenda I put together. I don't know whether you wanted to go through the issues, comments, or what you wanted to do really. I don't know how much time you had, so.
Oh yeah, no, it's I have until 10. Well, I guess my 11:30. Is it your 10:30 or 12:30?
It's my 10:30. Yeah, it's my 10:30.
Yeah.
Behind you.
But yeah, no, the most important thing for me was to have like something actionable going out of this, and that we definitely have that. So that's awesome. I'm super happy that you're able to help, Dan. That makes it a lot more fun for me.
Yeah, and this is such a core project to so many of the things that we're doing. So I'm really keen to kind of do this, right?
Awesome. Cool. Okay, let's is a simple way to migrate a huge project on Overmind 27 to 28. If I remember correctly, was it Overmind JS? Didn't we have like migration guide?
There was a migration guide. This was the changing of use Overmind context to the 3, 4, 5 individual hooks.
Oh yeah.
That was what caught people out the most here. My view on this right now is that so much time has passed. I don't think this is going to be a problem for people now. And there are easy ways around it, to be honest, because you just you define the hooks, right, that you export. So you can define a structure that replicates use Overmind context.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so and that we can help with that, Alex. Like, if I understand you correctly, then as well, it's like you can create your own version of the old hook, and you just use the new hooks that is inside the
exactly.
and then exposes the same thing as the old hook.
Exactly.
Yeah. We could create like a, maybe we can do that, like code sandbox. Maybe we can create a sandbox with an example for you, Alex. Yeah, that is I did in Proto. Yeah, because that's like a general strategy that I've used often is like you create your own abstraction to support the way things work now, and then you just gradually remove the old hook and use in this case, the old hook and then the specific hooks. Yeah, there is no, you have things like what are they called, code mods and stuff like that. But yeah, I haven't used that often. I kind of like typically coding is so much thinking, and I kind of enjoy those replacement refactors because you just sit there and stare at the screen.
Exactly.
It's almost meditative.
It really is, which is why I've never created like a wrapper or a shim to use Overmind context. I just go through and replace it.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
But yeah, Alex, that's the way to go. But please let me know. Yeah, awesome. And just let me know if you, or ask on Discord if you have any questions on if you meet any hiccups. Nice. Cool. Are there any issues related to the dev tools? Like one thing is the runtime, but
There are the dev tools are funny because they are buggy.
mm,
Um, there are a few bugs in them that, for example, cause Overmind the plugin to crash or the extension to crash every now and then.
oh,
But they're just things that you live with, right?
mm,
So, I mean, the dev tools are fantastic. They work really well, and as long as you work around those couple of bugs that are in there, there
mm.
is no problem.
Cool. Maybe I saw one of the bumps. That's the most interesting package bump is Electron.
Yep.
I have a feeling it's going to crash the DevTools, but so yeah, let me know if that crashes the DevTools, and I can
Okay.
take a look at it because I had that issue before bumping Electron. But maybe that could. But is it mostly the? Are you using the VS Code extension or the standalone?
It's the VS Code extension,
Yeah.
and I'll tell you the biggest problem actually is if you have two of the VS Code extension open, two tabs,
Mm.
then only one tab will ever work. The bigger problem is if you walk away from your machine for 24 hours and come back,
Mm.
the extension will crash. Um,
Ooh.
and therefore, when you click it opens a second tab for some reason.
Mm.
So we're talking more kind of VS Code integrations that are the problem, not the actual dev tools themselves.
Oh yeah, I see. Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, but I think it's yeah. How should we approach that?
My view on it is that just personally, I just live with them. I've never raised a bug for them. I've never raised an issue for them
Mm.
um, because I see them more as VS Code integration issues that it's just not worth spending the time on. I would rather spend the time on Overmind itself and improving the dev tools rather than worrying about VS Code integration.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I see your point. I was just thinking maybe there's a I believe there are like events in VS Code that might be related to as you say like in practice you're moving away from your computer a few hours, but I think VS Code emits some kind of event related to
Hmm.
hibernation or something, and it could be a quick fix that we kind of just
Okay.
dispose of
Okay.
everything in the extension and then just reload it kind of thing. I'm not sure.
So I don't know VS Code extensions at all, but let me dig into it, and I'll see if I can log some bugs with some good detail.
Yeah, and also I've gotten a lot more experience working with VS Code and extensions. I understand the lifecycle a little bit better now, so I can also just at least look at the code because it's ages since I looked at the code.
Okay.
How can I get? How do I? Oh, there we go. VS Code extension crashes after go away. Yeah, and also what Alex states. I remember this WebSocket. Yeah, and that's also a thing, like
Yeah.
insecure stuff, and that's changed a lot in Chrome. And like typically Chrome has a bug that makes insecure stuff work, and suddenly they fix the bug, and then things stops working again. But are you using the standalone thing then? Or I
Am I
guess that
using
doesn't
Slack?
matter. Hmm?
So I use both. Mainly, I use the Chrome integrated.
Yeah.
So the VS Code version, and everything works perfectly normally for me.
Okay.
It's literally the extensions host, I think, in VS Code that there's just something going on with for me. Um,
Oh yeah. Mm. Insecure. Insecure, I guess is the term. Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, let's not call that like let's call it research. Yeah. And I guess the insecure, yeah, because the insecure connection does that also happen in, yeah, that doesn't happen in the VS Code extension, I guess. It's only if you have the standalone thing and Chrome is trying to connect outside of the browser, kind of.
And Alex is saying he uses Firefox
Yeah, or Firefox.
instead. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, because inside the extension, if I remember correctly, like it's just there's a node process inside the extension that talks to the actual DevTool UI. No, wait, how does this work? No, of course not. That's not how it works. Yeah, it should be the same for both of them. Yeah, no, I have to look at it again. It's a long time since I looked at it, but I remember the insecure stuff with the WebSocket connection. But is it when Alex, are you developing on with like HTTPS, and then you get the issue, or is it like a general issue you get? Oh, if your local app on TLS, yeah, and you cannot have insecure connection. Yeah, sorry, yeah, cool. Yeah. Yeah, I'll do some research on that. Cool. Should we maybe? I'm very much against deadlines, but I like estimates. I will. Let's see. Look at my calendar. I don't have time tomorrow, but I do have time next week. What's nice is that this is really, like, working on this is really Code Sandbox related, as we're running Overmind on Code Sandbox now, version like the current Code Sandbox. So I'll do a stream on Monday morning. Research React 18 and Overmind. Yeah. Funny you should say that, Alex, about adding your own certificate and key to the dev tool. That's actually when we built the Cerebral dev tool, you could do that. I think you can still. Yeah, it's just a little bit. Yeah, but that's a good point. I can look at check Cerebral dev tool implementation for. Yeah. Cool. Yeah, but maybe the maintenance release is like, hopefully the package bumping works well, especially Electron, and then it should be like just as soon as possible.
So this maintenance release, I'm happy to drive that this week and get that done. Awesome. Hang on, what are we on? We're on Thursday already. Okay. So over the next kind of 5-7 days, I'll drive the maintenance release. I will need just a quick discussion offline with you, Christian, just to make sure I can publish that and stuff. But yeah, I get the current PRs in.
Cool. Yeah. So hope if nothing pops up, it should be this week, and then we can do the research and work on the other stuff next week, and maybe at the end of next week, even like earliest end of next week.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I'll have those PRs done for the end of next week, no problem.
Sweet. Cool.
Great.
I guess
good stream.
Yeah, this was awesome. I just setting this in my calendar, I started reflecting on all awesome streams through the days. We were better at this with Cerebral, actually. I don't know why, but yeah. But I would love to bring that concept back in the Overmind community, because it's just there's so many fun moments, like someone showing something they've built, blowing people's minds, and
Yeah, and there's loads of moments I'd love to share personally, actually, where you're sat with a whole bunch of class-based components and you're figuring out how to integrate Overmind with the class-based component, doing some of the most bizarre stuff temporarily to make it work are really kind of funny moments to share, I think.
Yeah, exactly.
And good practice in some ways. So yeah, it'd be really good.
Exactly. Cool. And we can also do things like announce it on Discord, and then people can like suggest things they want us to talk about, like what are our experiences around a certain topic or something like that, or maybe they have a challenge, and then we can come up with a suggestion how to resolve it on the stream and stuff like that.
Yep.
So, but yeah, I can try that one, and then
cool.
Yeah, more marketing. Yeah, marketing is always a challenge. Like I was, especially like I guess Overmind was also very much tied to my old Twitter account, and I closed that. It was just too much. It wasn't healthy for me having that Twitter account. So that's also something that it's nice to have a presence on Twitter for libraries. But yeah.
Cool.
Yep. Should we just conclude with that, and then we'll just chat more? Awesome.
Nice one. Okay. Thanks, Christian, for your time.
Yeah, thanks for joining, Dan. This was awesome.
Great. Take care.
Take care. Bye-bye.